You get that little thing that you have to push, like, got it?
Yeah.
Are you good? Is it on?
Are
We're
we good?
live. Good
Are we?
morning. I always say good morning. It's not even good morning for you.
Well, it is for you though.
It is for me. So, and even when I'm talking at night, for those who are on, for those that listen, that those who work with me, or whenever you see me, my general salutation is good morning. It can be, it can be,
Salutation. Haven't heard that word in forever.
yeah, that is my salutation. Good day. How are you? How you doing? How are you, Cameron?
I
Um,
am well.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here on Fit with Purpose. We have a purpose to do a podcast weekly. That's the purpose. No
We've been
judgment,
failing at our mission.
right? No judgment. Anyway, welcome to the podcast, Fit with Purpose. I'm Val, Fit with Purpose. I'm Val. You are
I am Cameron.
Cameron. For
Also,
those,
of course.
yes, the new listeners, welcome. So today, we wanted to jump in and we're excited to discuss. This is going to be our discussion about prevention. We're both into, as everybody knows, preventative lifestyle. We're in the wellness and fitness arena, have been all of our lives. And we always have insights and, strong opinions and great personalities. And we just want to bring this to you. And especially today, we feel like the key takeaway that we want for people is to give you the information so that you can take your power back in this realm of, trying to put your best effort forward in living a preventative lifestyle, because everything out there that you're dealing with, that you see on a regular basis, regardless of where you live, is nothing but ads, 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 buy, 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 sell, 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 bad food, bad food, bad food, fad exercising, quick fixes. What works? Why? Why? I don't know. So let's just open it up. What do you think? We'll go lots of different places with this. I just wanted to start off with, the medical field is all about fixing you after a car crash, right? If I can use that analogy, not helping you prevent the car crash, right?
Well said.
Whether it's through surgery or whether it's through medicine. What are your thoughts, Cameron?
Um, well, my response isn't going to be very lengthy because I agree with you 100%. Medicine, at least conventional healthcare systems, they focus on, like you said, chronic disease, and they don't focus on preventative medicine or longevity. And that's the problem. They want to address issues after you're sick. And essentially, we've, like you said, we've talked about this for so long, but you once you get in that healthcare system with a chronic condition, it's really challenging to exit. And when I say chronic conditions, I'm specifically referring to slow death diseases
Yes.
that 87% of us will die from: cardiac disease, of metabolic instability, cancer, and neurodegenerative diseases. Those are the four, according to the latest research,
Right.
that
Right.
87% of us will die from.
So she's
And
saying
they're,
heart. Go ahead, sorry.
cardiovascular disease,
Heart, and then the
metabolic
metabolic,
instability. So that's
diabetes.
an umbrella term for
Right.
hyperglycemia, hyperinsulinemia, diabetes,
Right.
type 2 fatty liver disease, and type 2 diabetes.
Right.
I'm not type 2 liver disease, a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So
Oh,
metabolic instability, cancer, neurodegenerative diseases.
and you know
And
what? Doctors aren't catching this. That's my point is, and we love storytelling. I listened to, it was a podcast, and I don't remember which doctor it was. It might have been Casey. Anyway, you know, women, say for example, a woman has a baby that's 12 pounds. That is not okay. Like that's an early sign. I listened to this story that this woman had a baby that was 12 pounds. You know, again, we can sometimes be gestational diabetic when you're pregnant, that just means that you're more at risk for developing type 2 diabetes after your pregnancy, later on down the line. A lot of women don't. It's a temporary situation, that thing that happens. But if you have a 12-pound baby, I mean, I feel like that's a precursor right there. What is going on inside your body to have created a 12-pound baby? And this same person, what is it? Uh, 40 years, 50 years down the line, whatever it is, it, became sick with pancreatic cancer. I mean, there's just so many things prior to that preventatively that the conversations are not being had the way that we have conversations with people, the way I have conversations with my clients, the way we put ourselves out there on social media to bring awareness to doing the minimum. The minimum is exercising, and the minimum is eating better. These are all the minimum. And we pound it and we put it out there, and all these things. It's barely discussed when you go into the doctor's office.
And Val, I think that's by design. Well, I think there's for probably a multitude of reasons, but I think the top two reasons are, if you don't go to the doctor, not you, but if one doesn't go to the doctor doesn't make money, nor do they get kickbacks from pharmacy. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I mean, that is a thing. I've worked in too many hospitals, too many ERs, and seen how many drug reps come in and bring free food in hopes the ER physicians will write their prescription. Because if they write their prescription, they get a kickback. So not only does the drug rep get the kickback, but the physician gets a kickback too. So it's a very, very lucrative reciprocal relationship, which to me is very, very wrong. And the other reason is, once you get in that system, you can't get out.
No,
You
you can't.
cannot get out.
It's a spiral. You're in a spiral at that point, and that's why that's what I'm saying. They don't start to have these conversations really, really early on. It's, this is, think about the suffering that could be less, for people. And this is a key political issue, economical issue, spiritual issue. Early declining life expectancy is the tip of the iceberg of a lot of suffering that's happening to people. We want to, let's catch this early. That's all we, it's not even an all we. Now there are platforms. We have these different social media places that we can share what we can share with, but in the end, we can only do so much. There's people are going to go to the doctor, and people are going to, like you said, get put in the system and take these medications. It's just going to go around, around, around. They could even be taking medications for something that it's not, something
Absolutely.
that's not really going on with their body. It was actually Cameron and I were having a discussion, whenever it was, weeks and weeks ago. Um, I'll let you tell the story about that, about the guy with the gunshot
Oh,
wound.
right.
Yeah, tell them that one.
Yeah. I want to say 16 or 18, but 2 years doesn't make a difference. He was a teenager. He had been picked up by an ambulance. He was a victim of a GSW gunshot wound. And unfortunately, he ended up dying on the emergency room table even before they could get him into surgery. Uh, he had been resuscitated once, but could not be resuscitated again. And they did an autopsy on him to see what the specific cause of death was, because his gunshot wound should not have resulted in death. But nevertheless, it did. But what they ended up finding was this teenager had advanced cardiovascular disease. Now, that being said, it wasn't enough to invoke symptom. It wasn't a symptomatic disease process at that point, meaning he was going about his day to day and had no idea. He had no chest pain, no shortness of breath, and he probably wouldn't, young black male, he probably wouldn't have any repercussions until he gets to the, providing he stays on the same nutritional and non-exercise course, providing he's, in his
Because that's how he got
his
to the
50s.
condition he had. Yeah, by not
That's absolutely right. So what that means is, and this is not just me saying this, I have to preface all of that with, this is all evidence-based research that you and I are talking about, mostly 99% all the time, but specifically today. But evidence shows that heart disease begins at birth. So with the first inception of food and exercise or lack thereof, it's just a matter at that point how fast it's going to progress.
That's interesting.
And
Let me just stop you there really quick. I want you to keep telling the
sure,
story. Starts at birth, meaning when a child is born, can they test their heart? I mean, they've had nothing. Is that genetic disposition? Or is that because they
I
haven't had any
believe,
influence otherwise?
right, right. I think what the author was alluding to was, the moment you're born, you begin to die. I mean, there's hopefully a
Yeah.
lot of time in between that, but if you eat, which you have to eat, and lifestyle and behavioral factors all contribute to cardiovascular disease. And it really doesn't, I mean, it does, obviously it matters what you eat, but you can slow that way, 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 way down based on what you eat, the type of exercise you do, according to relevant current day
Right.
research. So that's what they meant when cardiovascular disease starts the moment you're born. Just like death starts the moment that you're born. Again, hopefully there's a lot of time between birth and death. And something else
Realistically speaking.
that something else that you actually said that I wanted to touch on, and the buzzword that you used, which was longevity. And I really don't think people understand that medicine, Val, is really, really good. Current day Western medicine, our healthcare system is really, really good at longevity, meaning from the time you're born, from the instant you're born until the time you die, that's your lifespan. That's how long you're going to live. And it's actually increased by like 13% over the past, I don't know, 90, 100 years. But here's the kicker: not many people realize that there's also something called health span. So lifespan is how long you live. Health span is how long you live without disease.
Right,
And
right.
here's the percentage on that. Health span, average American, and we're not talking man, woman, black, white, none of that. We're just talking the average American's lifespan is 89.2 years. So you're going to live 89 years old. You know what their health span is? 69.7. That's almost 20% of your life. You will have some sort of disease, slow death disease, what we just talked about. And they're called slow death diseases:
I don't like any of
cardiovascular
those.
disease, neurodegenerative disease, metabolic
Right.
instability, or neurodegenerative diseases, which, by the way, are mostly preventable, which
Right.
tells you that it's lifestyle and behavioral changes that can influence how, not only how long, short of you stepping in front of a bus and committed, I have a traumatic accident, but from disease, I'm talking about from chronic disease. That's what I'm talking about.
That's insane. I don't like any of those numbers. I mean, I don't think 89 is even old. And this is like you're saying, before even any disease and that's your lifespan, and the health span being 69. And that's interesting. I actually would have thought, well, I don't know. I guess it's not very nice of me to say. I wasn't kind. I was gonna think, I thought the health span would have been younger than that. And 69 is not remotely old either,
Not,
and not,
no.
it's not. 89 is not as well. But as you said, they are preventable. But this world does not facilitate education hard enough and profoundly enough to help people and empower people to give a rat's royal hiney about being healthier so they can have a better health span and lifespan. There are people we're kept alive by medicine, by modern medicine. There's people who live at home with oxygen, right? Sitting there with
Sure.
the remotes every day, getting up, getting whatever, they come back, they have the remote. That's the rest of their life for the next 20 years.
Or in a nursing home in a wheelchair with their chin on their chest and someone changing their diaper.
Right.
That's health span. So those folks are living 20% of their life. And again, this is the average American. These are your neighbors. These are the people that you know and love.
Exactly.
Most people will die from some sort of slow death disease and remained that way for 20% of their life.
Terribly, terribly disheartening. And rhetorical. Can we change big pharma, big government campaign finance, the lobbyists? You know what I'm saying? The answer is no. I mean, it's a yes and a no. We're too busy trying to pay our bills and live and work 12 jobs and to go and picket and go rise up against our government and go to the White, all these things, or go to your local, go to the Capitol and go to the committee meetings, do all these. Americans aren't going to do it. So us, we, you know, people, we want to empower you guys. We can make the choice to individually unplug, not participate. We can say, no, it's okay. We don't have to people please. You don't have to drink the Coke. You don't have to drink the Pepsi. You don't have to put it on your social media, put it on your Snap. You can go for a walk. You can unplug from that rhetoric and try not to, and make your best effort not to go down that road. Make a choice. Nothing's right or wrong. They're all choices and you have to live with them to plug into the road that we're trying to share with you, that we are actively sharing with you. I want to talk a little bit, just bringing our parents into this equation, because we're in a generation of Gen Z generation right now, the generation of AI, the generation, God, there's something I want to tell you about that, but our parents, we're Gen X's, so whatever that is, 1960 something to like 80, I don't know. Anyway, our parents, boomers, baby boomers, things like that, because I know too many people's parents who have passed because their doctors weren't having these conversations with them. And then of course, it's going on right now, but like, just opening it up, like how do you feel? What kind of lifestyle did your parents live? What is it that of how they were told or shared to take care of themselves from those years in the, I don't know, 60s, 70s, 50s, you know, um, did they lead a preventable life? Are they alive? What did they succumb to? I'll let you go and then I can tell you about mine.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Each one of my parents passed some time ago, in 2000, and the end of '05 and '06, 4 months apart.
Gosh.
And the interesting part about that is they each had a slow death disease. My mom had a neurological disease and my dad had cancer. And, from what I remember at least, my parents they never overweight at all, never exercised, but
Okay.
uh, I think they just led a air quotes normal America, a normal diet, standard American diet. However, it wasn't until I was a young adult that my mom started really paying attention to health shows. Internet wasn't a thing back then, so she would find on public TV health shows, and she would watch them, and she became really in tune to that and started buying healthy food. But I think at that point, Val, uh, it was too late. And
Already at that point, was there a neurological situation? When was she first told what was wrong with her and
yeah,
why? According to doctors, was that the case? What, in your being where we are now, what we understand, I'm sure you have an educated understanding or guess as to how this illness befell her
yeah.
neurologically.
Well, even though my mom had a neurodegenerative disease, and again, it's one of the four horsemen, as Peter Attia says, that will kill you, a slow death disease. My mom's in which we usually think of as Alzheimer's and dementia, which they are neurological, neurodegenerative diseases. But there are also other neurodiseases that fall within that umbrella, and that's ALS,
Dementia.
amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which is Lou Gehrig's, and also Parkinson's, even though Parkinson's is more along the lines of a movement disorder. It still falls within that neurodegenerative
Right.
disease category.
Alzheimer's.
So the diagnosis for that is a little bit different, as is the disease process. So unlike Alzheimer's and dementia, where you lose cognitive ability, ALS you don't, but it is a neuro disease, meaning you eventually become paralyzed. You have all of your mental faculties. You can see, you can think, but it's a slow death. It's a slow, horrible, hideous, insipid disease. Your muscles become paralyzed, and your last muscle to become paralyzed is your breathing muscle. So essentially, you smother to death. And that was what my mom
It's
had.
terrible. I just,
It's terrible. It's
well, we,
terrible.
you and
It's
I,
incredibly challenging and upsetting to this day. And
I'm so
then my
sorry.
dad's was multiple myeloma, which according to textbooks back then and today is the only cancer that has never been cured. It's been in remission, but it's never been cured.
Is myeloma skin? What is myeloma?
No, it's similar to leukemia, so
Oh,
it's a
okay.
blood disorder, but nevertheless, it was a cancer, and my mom's was a neurological disorder.
And they
And
just popped up in their lives. There's no reason. They're like, oh, they're just getting old and this happens.
well, it's, if we think back to the 16-year-old that died of the gunshot wound,
Right.
had he not gotten the GSW, the gunshot wound, he would have probably lived most of his adult life asymptomatic, meaning no symptoms of heart disease,
But
even though he had it.
he wasn't exercising and eating well either. So we know
Correct. He had the teenager diet.
intervention could have been that. Where
Absolutely.
where do you think
Yeah.
the intervention could have been in your mother's diagnosis of not of what the preventative strategies she could have took early on? What conversations could have been made to her awareness by a doctor?
Well, that's a great question, only because, again, even though the umbrella includes Alzheimer's, dementias, ALS, and Parkinson's, ALS is different in that it's not a cognitive disorder like Alzheimer's and dementia. Alzheimer's and dementia, study after study after study show there are so many behavioral and lifestyle interventions and
Right.
actions that
Okay.
can prevent that.
Right.
So the problem with ALS, Val, is they don't really know what causes it. They know that the myelin sheath is and the neuronal axons are destroyed, but they don't know why.
Right. Right. Right.
And so to affect change, we could say diet and this and that, but we don't
Right.
really
We don't
know
know.
like
We
we
don't know.
know for Alzheimer's and dementia. That's the problem.
I see what you're saying. Maybe it could have been a gene, some mutation of some sort that was hereditary. I
Certainly.
don't know. That's interesting. Obviously, your dad having the somewhat vascular type of cancer, which I know vascular cancers are not super common. I have a friend whose dad died from a vascular cancer. I don't know. Was he in war or something? It just happened?
Never in war, but in the service. I'm a firm believer. My dad was, even though he was a hilariously funny guy, he was stressed out the majority of the time,
Um,
and he could not deal with his emotions. He had frequent flare-ups, and
okay.
part of my extended program, one of the components is emotional health and stress because I think it's that important. So I
Absolutely.
believe that was a major contributing factor to my dad's disease.
100%. And we'll do a separate podcast on stress. I was just talking, one of the calls I did last night with my clients was on stress. You guys, stress is a killer. It does, it can cause again, cancer. It can
Absolutely.
cause you to hold on weight gain. It can cause, many, many, many things. We'll get to that. So there you go. I mean, stress is part of mental health. That was not talked about in the boomer era. So
No.
there's that, I tell you, people knew about these, doctors knew about a lot of this, but you can't cure it with a pill. I mean, or you can't cure it without a pill. So like they're not going to talk about it unless you can cure it. You know what I'm saying, with the pill. So that's where
And
that's
Val, we have to be honest with our conversation and honest with the people whose lives we touch. They don't want us healthy.
Right.
If we are healthy, the profits go down. And again, it's not conspiracy theory, it truly is
It's
fact.
really, and
Big
that's why,
pharma and big agriculture
right.
are are the two biggest industries in the world.
The
And if
to
we're
watch,
healthy, we don't need medication, we don't need
right.
physicians, we don't need treatment, we don't need Merck, we don't need Bayer, we don't need AstraZeneca pharmaceuticals because there's no disease for them to cure. Do you see how that works?
We need disease there so that, and that's my point. We can't lessen the suffering. We can do that, but then that makes the system less money. So that's why, again, we're here to help you guys go around this and stop making whoever it is, these big businesses, these big companies rich. In my parent situation, I am fortunate where they are both living. My dad actually just turned 80 on Sunday. And I don't know how old my mom is. She was born in 53, so she's 70, I think, something. It's hard to, there are otherwise healthy older individuals. And my dad still plays basketball with me, and he's got his stuff. I think he's on a half of a blood pressure medication. As we know that as you age, things do occur because of just age. But the key is keep your body, don't just stay in a chair or whatnot. But my lifestyle or my childhood was, uh, you know, uh, we were a very active family. And for him, due to where he grew up, black man in the South, orphan, left the South, came to California. My dad was all about distraction and, trying to live the best life he could under those, systemic racism back in the 60s. I mean, this is a man that decided to join the Vietnam War due to racism in California.
Wow.
He was told that when he was 17, he was fired from Dairy Queen, from JCPenney, and from Sears because there are bylaws that if you have a Negro working for you, you will be sued. So he
Wow.
decided, let me join the Vietnam War. He thought that was safer than to deal with the racism in
Wow.
California. There was one man from South Africa that talked to him about how to live as a black man in Southern California. And we're talking California. That's not the Southern South, where he actually
Right.
came from, moved out of there. So he did. He joined the Vietnam War, lived, got through it, right? Came back to California, went and plucked my mom out of the countryside of Arkansas, and then brought her to California. And that's where we lived in Southern California. I didn't even know I was black until I was in third grade. So like he just was very. It's also true. There was no. He's like, I'm not going to live. I'm not going to have my kids go through this. What I went through. I mean, yeah, he has trauma. But my point is, with the health point of it, this is why he was on somewhat of a mission to have a healthy lifestyle and not be noticed so much by everybody. So, outlets back then so that he looked as if he was a cool guy and not like he was going to rob someone. So he's a black guy that's going to play basketball, that's going to be happy, that's going to do these things. That was in his favor. So that's the example that was set for us. The food, again, I mean, we didn't get Twinkies. We didn't get what all the other kids in the neighborhood. We
Yeah,
got
same.
wheat bread. I thought black people ate wheat bread and white people ate white bread, only because we're the only black people in our neighborhood. And that's there were nobody else. All my friends were white and they all had white bread. So that's just a deduction I made as a child. I never thought anything of it until I got older. I'm like, oh, that's like, it's funny what's impressionable to
Isn't it?
a kid. It's really funny. But so he put us in everything. He just wanted us to have he didn't want us to notice that we were a minority. So he had us in everything. So that's why, I attribute just staying in the health, in the exercise world. He knew a little bit about food, not a ton. He just knew not a lot of sugar was great. But I don't remember, conversations going to the doctor and, my parents too, of them saying we were already exercising, but even, to so I guess that's the exercise model that I had. As you can see, it wasn't due to whatever the doctor said, or it wasn't due to anything else.
Okay.
It was a survival technique for my father due to his childhood. A whole nother side of things. And now, the one thing my dad did teach us is to eat little portions, you guys. So even today, he eats, I mean, he will buy a slice of pie and eat half of it and then eat the other half the next day, a
Oh,
slice.
I would tear up the whole pie. I couldn't
Of
do it.
course. No, who can? Like,
That's why I don't buy it.
no, I know. And we now know we won't buy it, but he's got this crazy discipline. I think it comes from just having a hard lifestyle,
Yeah, of course.
scarcity food, scarcity, existence, just everything that he went through. But again, we had different models of how, but generally speaking, again, these conversations weren't being had in the doctor's offices with our parents either. It's interesting. I will ask my parents if they can even remember. Or what about
Yeah.
when they were kids? Have you asked your parents, what did the doctors, when you guys went and had your checkup, did you even go have checkups? You know, not that it would matter, maybe.
Yeah, right.
So, again, you guys, the best we can do is give you this information and empower you to, like I was saying, Cameron said, the system, we know this, is designed for you to be sick, to stay,
Yes.
to get sick. So we can give you medicine. And the more you get medicine, you're going to get a side effect from it. The side effect that you have, you're going to be given another medicine for that side effect. Um, we
And
just
food is the problem, and food is also the answer. It really is. And of course, exercise. But if we wouldn't have the lab work that we have, if we didn't eat the shit that we eat, it's just can't get any more simplified than that.
and that's it. Drop, mic drop. Before we close, I do want everybody to understand and know that what I do is, again, you have to start. I mean, you have to stay consistent. You have to start. Sorry, I'm getting a call. The exercise consistency and the eating better consistency and accountability. That's where I empower people currently with how I put myself out there. Cameron, if you'll explain it, has a program, an early death prevention program that she has recently devised. And maybe in about 30 seconds, if you could sum up what that entails.
Yeah, absolutely. It's called the Extend program, and you're exactly right. It's a Prevent Unidentified Early Death program. And we take kind of my famous 40,000-foot view, and we do a functional blood chemistry analysis, and we focus on metabolic stability. We focus on cardiovascular health and sleep, stress, and prescriptive exercise. Once we get all those 5 things dialed in, we can, without a doubt, it's done so remarkable, myself included. I just got my labs back this morning, and I dropped from triple digits to double digits for my APOB levels. So it works.
What is that, APOB?
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, just very simply put, if you go to a physician, they say, "Oh, your cholesterol's good." Well, that's fine, but cholesterol is not what we need to be concerned with. It's APOB levels. So it is think of it as the form of cholesterol that will kill you. You can have normal cholesterol, but you could die from APOB levels.
And that is that LDL, just to put in layman's term? I mean, obviously not, probably, because
Well,
LDL is
the
good
LDL,
cholesterol.
which is bad, HDL, which is good. I hate those terms, but
I
they are
know.
both wrapped in APO proteins.
Okay.
So it's the protein that's bad.
And this is what's important, you guys understand. I mean, again, in optimizing your health, you've got to, it's the whole totalitarian. I mean, again, you can't sit here and do
Yes.
nothing. You can't sit and not exercise and not eat well. So, there you do have it. We please reach out for questions, reach out. I work with everybody, but primarily I'm focusing on women, and especially in here, just the mindset. No one's going to do anything if you're not okay here. And put your mouth, what was it? My favorite analogy I like to use recently is, when you're traveling and the flight attendant says, put your mask on, your air
Uh,
mask on before you put your kid or the person next to you. Put yours on first. Because if you're dead, if you're flatlined, you're not well, you cannot take care of anybody else. Stop being a people pleaser. Take care of you. Take care of you. Put you in the driver's seat. Get accountability. Get consistent, that you'll get through that accountability, you know, get your working out, eating better, get everything checked out. The only way to optimize your health is to do these protocols, and this is
right.
why we're here.
That is
We'll
correct.
put our information as usual in the show notes for you guys, and we do hope you enjoyed this episode of Fit with Purpose. And as usual, honestly, and I know we're not live, you're watching this after the fact, but we will the goal is weekly or bi-weekly to be putting out new episodes for you. So make sure you do follow us on YouTube, Fit with Purpose. The F in fit is capitalized, the W is not, and then the P in purpose is capitalized. And you'll see our big faces in the what is it? The I don't know, the picture, the pen,
Thumbnail.
the thumbnail, the thumbnail. All right, any closing thoughts?
Um, Eat right, exercise, so you can not dump money into big pharma pockets and stay
Please
out of nursing homes.
stop giving them your money, you guys. You're paying these insurance premiums. We got this. We got
You
you.
got it.
All right. Have a
How can
great
they
day.
find you?
Exactly. How can they find me? Oh,
Yeah.
we'll put that in the show notes too. We're both on Facebook and
Okay,
Instagram.
cool.
Yeah, I'm Valerie Coley Al-ghaith. I know you can't spell that. Check the show notes, and Angel Val 77 on Instagram. But go ahead. What's yours on Facebook?
What is it on Facebook? Extend program at extend
Is
program,
it?
like extend your life. It is now.
There you go.
There you go.
Extend your program.
No, just extend program or
You're,
extendprogram.com. That's where you can find me.
you're like, Val, how do you not know this?
It's been a minute.
Oh, I'm following. How do I not? What is wrong? See, I'm tired today, people.
Go nap. I'm going to take my hound to the potty and go to the dog park.
Everybody, it'll love our life. I got a client. We'll see you
All right.
guys later. Have a good
Yeah,
day.
have a good day. Bye.